Hey everybody, Roxabox9 here with some Commander 2014 spoilers. Yes, we have 2 teaser spoilers that are just up, and we're going to have the official spoilers starting tomorrow morning, I guess, sometime. And I'm really excited to see what they have. As you guys know, I'm a huge EDH Commander player. I'm very excited to see what the new set's going to be bringing us. And I have a lot of speculation to talk about in this video, as well as the 2 spoilers. Some other brief announcements right before we get to that. We have some playmats for the PTQ Top 8. Guy killing zombies, always cool. Then we have a huge monster. I love the detail on this one. It looks fantastic. The horse falling / tripping over as it tries to avoid the demon, whatever it's doing, is pretty sick. I love that one. And then here we have Clever Impersonator times 3. Pretty cool. So if you guys want to check this out in more detail yourself, or put them as a backdrop or something, as with most of the things in this video, it will be linked in the description so you guys can go and jump in on that. Then we have a really cool announcement. I have to say, since Zendikar Treasures, this is probably the coolest kind of announcement they're doing. On day 1 of the World Championship, which is pretty narrow, but still, players will get to compete in 3 rounds of real-life Vintage Masters booster draft. Now, okay, everyone's going to freak out and be like, oh my god, are they printing power? Are they breaking the reserve list? Nope. What they're doing here is that they're going to, I believe it's not saying it here. Oh yeah, here we go. Physically reconstructed for this event. That means that Wizards, I guess, is going to take either buy cards, or they have their huge warehouse, storehouse. They're going to be putting cards in like they did with the Zendikar Treasures that are on the reserve list, but they're going to put them into new booster packs and let people play with them for this one day event, it appears. So they're not breaking the reserve list, but they're stretching it as far as they can go to get people to be able to play with power and such. So that's pretty neat, I have to say. Of course, there aren't so many players involved in this, but still, being able to see power opened and played with is going to be really epic and really cool. So I'm excited to see that and what happens with that. So cool stuff. Then we have the January F&M promo, the Frenzied Goblin. I don't know why it's not popping up, but here we go. Here we go. We got the November promo we already talked about, the December promo, which is Stoke the Flames, which looks epic, and then January we have Frenzied Goblin, which is kind of fine. I don't know if it's particularly great. The other artwork I wasn't such a fan of either. This one is fine, I guess. It's okay. It's cool. It's definitely different, more old school styled. So there is that. But it's definitely a playable card, and Stoke the Flames is the real killer, given how expensive those cards are now and how much they see play. But Frenzied Goblin is definitely a nice one to put in here as well. So good stuff. Then we have here, here we have the Commander article. I'll put this down below. You guys can definitely read through and check it all out yourself. It's some interesting stuff. Particularly, the first card is Feldon of the Third Path. Feldon, for those who remember or don't remember, the only card I can remember him with was Feldon's Cane. I don't think he's on many of these cards, but there was a story written about him, Lauren's Smile. You guys can read it. It's a pretty good story, actually. And you learn more about Feldon's problems because it's kind of sad. But anyway, he's 3 for a 2/3 human artificer, 2 and a red to tap in. Put a token on the battlefield as a copy of target creature card in your graveyard, except it's an artifact. In addition to its types, it gains haste. Sack it at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, so pretty much this is an interesting variant of Kiki-Jiki, which I like. I like that it does your graveyard because it's both flavorful. It fits the story. You guys can find that if you read it. But it also is really cool that it has this kind of effect. Graveyard connected with a Kiki-Jiki effect that you can use. And yeah, sure, it's not as epic as Kiki-Jiki, but then again, it's definitely a very flexible card, very cool to build around, and I think it'll be a super epic card for Commander. I'm very happy this card is so cool. Very, very cool. And they make a joke about how about Wormcoil Engine. You guys will read in the article. It's great stuff. Then we have Angelic Field Marshal, 2 and 2 white. Remember, these Commander decks are all monocolored, so the mono white, mono red, mono blue, mono green, mono black, and so the cards themselves have to fit that profile. So Angelic Field Marshal is 2 and 2 white for a 3/3 flying angel with Lieutenant, which is a new keyword. As long as you control your commander, it gets 2/2, and creatures you control have vigilance. So that's pretty neat. I like the keyword more than this particular card. Sure, 4 for a 5/5 flying that gives all creatures vigilance. That's pretty nice. and it's a solid rare, no question. But the fact that it's a commander-focused keyword that really fits the flavor. If you have your epic commander, commanders have lieutenants that work well when the commander's around. So I like that a lot. I think it's pretty well designed. I'd like to see some more interesting lieutenant. This is kind of just, it gets a little stronger in ability. Great. Maybe it'd be really cool if they have some interesting abilities that tie with commander archetypes, stuff like that. I think that would be very neat to see. So hopefully we'll see more about it. But also it's an angel, and now we'll get into some of our speculation, which is a little bit more in depth, and we don't really have a lot of detail for it. But this guy pointed out, Creator Pond, pointed out that then this love letter article, which you saw before over here, and you guys can read, this is in the article. 3 of the 5 Planeswalker commanders, and remember, they're all monocolored, so we had Teferi already, but we have 3 of the characters you'll recognize from Magic's Past, so Teferi is one of them, boom. 1 is a character you know, but maybe not by name, and 1 is a brand new character, but from a plane you've seen before. Okay, so that's probably like Tamio. We're not going to be able to guess that. It's almost impossible, I think, to guess a brand new character we've never really seen. But 1 is a character you know, but maybe not by name, so the question people immediately bring up is, okay, is this the Lethalmancer, since we have it mentioned in the new set? I don't think so, because we do know the name of the Lethalmancer. I think it's Nahiri. They mentioned it in the thread here. And so that can't be the Lethalmancer. But here are some things from Planeswalkers that we could know. Since 3 are characters you recognize from the past, so if we know that we have Teferi, then we have 2 that we might recognize. So who could they be? So in Mono Red, we could have Jessica. Now Jessica is technically dead, or as close as these kind of things get, but she was an extension of Phage and Acroma, and then she became Corona, and then she became Jessica, Thrice Touched by Infinity, and she's a really interesting character with a very conflicted backstory. And for her, I think that having her as a card, both as a powerful Planeswalker, I don't think she's never been printed as a Planeswalker before, but also it would encourage people to check more into her background and her story and see how much of an interesting character she is. She could definitely be an option, even though she's dead now, but as a product, I think they could work with her. Another red one that people mention is Fierce. I don't really know much about him. I do remember that he is from Dominaria, and in this article they talk about how he's a Dwarven Planeswalker, which, again, because he's connected to Oteria, it's also a good reason they could bring him as well from into the story, I guess. And it would provide a little bit of diversity to what we normally expect in the Planeswalker mold, and that would be pretty cool. So those are the 2 red options I'm thinking would be most likely, if the red option is going to be someone we know. For mono white, many Planeswalkers draw on white, but Sarah is definitely known historically as the white Planeswalker, and so she probably has. Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying, well, you can't really speculate on the fact that there's an angel in the deck, and so therefore we should have the Queen of Angels, so to speak. But for me, I do think Sarah would be a fine choice, and we've never seen a Planeswalker card of her, and I do think that she's iconic enough people will probably recognize her and would be able to connect back to the older story. Cool stuff. Lord Windgrace, I kind of wish that he could be in this set because he's so epic. The problem is that even though here he's on a white card, but he is a black-blue Planeswalker at heart, even though all the Planeswalkers could channel, all the old Planeswalkers could channel all 5 colors pretty much without trouble, but here he is definitely a blue-black oriented Planeswalker. He's from Urborg, which is blue-black, and that makes him multicolor, so chances are he's not going to be in this set, which is kind of sad, but hopefully we'll see him in the future because he's so awesome. Black, though, I think Leshrac definitely has a chance of seeing a print because not many Planeswalkers are associated purely with black, and Leshrac is known to be the Walker of Night, the black Planeswalker. And I think that he's someone we recognize, and he's someone old, and definitely has a shot of being in this set as the black one. And the green is, pretty obvious. Frielis is the known green Planeswalker from multiple blocks, and all the way back from Ice Age, through Dominaria, through Time Spiral. Even though, again, she also is one of the Planeswalkers who, quote-unquote, died, but that doesn't necessarily, as a character, doesn't mean they can't bring her back in a commander block. So those are pretty much my thoughts on the green, black, white, red, and blue. We already have Teferi. So those are my thoughts of ones they could bring back. As I said, one of them will be new, one of them will be one that's going to be very hard to guess, and two of them are just, these are probably the options I think are most likely. But if you guys have any other alternate thoughts about it, definitely put that down below in the comment section. I'd love to talk more about it, and definitely check out this article in the description of the video. Stay tuned for Commander 2014 spoilers coming this week. If you guys enjoyed this video, tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.